guys, it's the Injury Bloke here. I'm going to try and do this in one take because I didn't realise I already did this video and the battery died. So I'm going to whiz through it because time and all that. So what I'm covering today is 4 reasons why your injuries are lasting longer than what they should, or increases your chances of them reoccurring. So let's get through this, let's do it. So number 1, the number 1 thing that makes me frown and shake my head and do this is when I see people telling other people they should be doing this. Right, yes, you should rest when you first get injured. If you go back to my first video, I think it's called The Things You Should Be Doing When You First Get Injured. Rest is part of it, but it's a very, very, very small part of it. If you over-rest injuries, if you're protecting them and not using them, your chances of these injuries reoccurring when you're getting yourself back into stuff is increased. There's a lot of stuff to deal with an injury, but what you really want to be doing, I'm keeping this very simple, by the way, but what you want to be doing is using the limb. So if you've sprained your ankle, you still need to use the ankle to a level that doesn't hurt. Now that level could be that you're using a walking stick and the ankle's strapped up. It could be there. But over the days, it should be getting more and more use, more and more weight onto it, so that when you the soft tissues respond better to that, so you'll come back in a better position. And there's a lot more rehab you want to do as well. But to get back as quick as you possibly can, you need to be using it as early as you possibly can to a level that doesn't hurt. Brings me on to point number 2. Pushing through the pain. It's quite frightening. Frightening, maybe. The number of times I still hear people say, "Oh, I've been pushing through the pain, but it's getting now better or getting worse." The pain's there to tell you to stop. There's most injuries, 99% of injuries, you don't. the pain is there because there's a problem, so you don't try and push through it, because effectively you're just going to make it worse. You're going to have more inflammation, more swelling, more spasm. If you're out running, your gait pattern's going to change, and you're going to have secondary problems because of it, because you're not going to be moving properly. So never, ever, ever push through the pain. Get it assessed, get it treated, and get yourself doing things proper. Right, number 3. Alcohol, as my dad says. He can't say his L, he can't say the H, is alcohol. This was predominantly when I worked in football. So you're playing on a Saturday or Sunday, whatever, and you have a couple of beers after the game. That's just the way it is, no matter what level of football you're playing at. So predominantly I worked in semi-pro football, and the problem is when you put alcohol into your system, it vasodilates, it dilates your arteries. So the old saying is, you get more blood to the area effectively. So if you've got an injury and it's bleeding and it's swelling and there's all sorts of stuff going to that area, which it will be anyway because you've been running around on it, it can actually tends to, for argument's sake, double your recovery time, to a 2-week injury to a 4-week injury, because you'll have more swelling and more of the effects of injury to deal with, as opposed to just the injury itself. So general rule of thumb is, if you get injured, don't have a beer. If you do, you're going to be out for longer. If you're happy with that, then so be it. But there you go. Right, next one. This is the one that frustrates me the most, and it's your friends, your colleagues, your fellow club members, and what it is, it's the crap advice that you see being thrown out. Now, let's take a step back. When you get a pain somewhere, a lot of time, not always, but a lot of time, the pain isn't the problem area. It will be relaying from somewhere else, and it just gets stodged somewhere else because of something either above or below is affecting where limbs can sit and so on, and therefore you get a problem somewhere that actually isn't the problem. So when, let's say hamstrings is a big one, isn't it, for all runners, picking on runners. So I see all the time, oh, my hamstrings are, really tight, or I'm getting pain in my hamstrings, and then somebody else will pipe up, oh, you want to be foam rollering and blah, 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 blah. Now, just because it's worked for them, it's not necessarily the thing that you need to be doing. You can have very similar symptoms. Excuse me, froggy today. You can have very similar symptoms from different injuries, or you can have the same injury that's being caused because of a different problem, whether that's mechanical or training loads or soft tissues protecting certain areas because of another injury, or because you don't move well or as well as you should. So when your friend, the accountant, is giving you injury advice, you know what I mean? I don't even need to say it, do I really? So if you're having particularly, we all have aches and pains. Christ, if I let every ache and pain stop me from doing what I wanted to do, I'd never do anything, random stuff as we get older. But especially if you're having these persistent things and you're trying to correct it with advice from other people, you could be making yourself worse, and you could be doing yourself some long-term damage. It's going to be putting you out for longer. And I'm just mentioning foam rollering because that's one of the ones. I'm not saying foam rolling is good or bad, but if you're foam rolling something that actually shouldn't be being foam rolled at that moment in time because that's not the issue, you're just going to compound the problem and potentially put yourself out for longer when this kicks off good and proper for you. So use a bit of common sense, be a bit smart, take your injury advice from people that are trained to give injury advice, and yeah, I understand people mean well. Everybody wants to help people. I appreciate that, but there's a point where you've got to, that's not their job. It's mine. So yeah, hope you found that useful. Any questions, any queries, any comments, stick them in there. If there's anything you want me to cover, stick it in there. If I know enough about it, I'll happily cover it. Like, subscribe, share, preferably share. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.